Then this is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV on YouTube with my first Power Slap interview here with none other than Chelsea Mini Mayhem Dodson. And I hope I'm
Hey.
pronouncing that name right because I don't want to get slapped by you. And you've got like a viral video out right now because you took a big slap to the face. If anyone's wondering why her nose is all messed up right now.
My nose is all taped up because I got smacked in the nose and not the face, unfortunately, and it's pretty viral everywhere.
Yeah, because the blood is just, I thought it was coming from inside your nose, but the blood is actually coming from a cut in on your nose, right? Could you show us that?
It's like both. So I have a cut right here, and then my nose actually broke, so it started bleeding from inside also. So it looks kind of crazy. I wish I could take this tape off, but my nose is literally sideways.
Wow. Well, you still look great even with a broken nose.
A
I'll
broken nose
go
and a black eye. There you go.
yeah. Well, I've had my share of those. They don't last very long. I'll share the screen of your Instagram page to show people what happened there here. I'll rewind this, or I guess it'll replay. This is her Instagram, by the way. Anyone that wants to check out her Instagram. So that's an illegal clubbing blow right
Yeah, that
there.
was the first time that it was so intense, and I think that's why it went so viral, was because you don't really see that in slap fighting.
No.
Obviously in MMA and stuff that's different, but in slap fighting, because your strike zone's here, when my nose broke on stage, it freaked everybody out.
Well, tell us a little bit about the rules of slap fighting because a lot of people don't understand like how that's illegal and how do you win this?
Okay, so what's legal is your hand more relaxed and you're going through with a slap this way versus leading with the palm of your hand. If you lead with the palm of your hand, it's called a clubbing foul. It's more or less for the safety of the fighter, so you're not causing them like concussions and stuff like that, like black eyes. Because what you're trying to do is get a knockout with a powerful slap, not palm strike per se, is what they call it. So there's also stepping fouls when you lift your foot. There's a bunch of rules that you have to study if you want to do power slap.
How did you get into it?
I'm such a big fan of power slap. I kind of just signed myself up on a whim, and they actually called me to go ahead and compete, and I'm part of the roster now.
What
I was watching it, and I I just got a wild hair up my ass one day, and I signed up, and uh, we're actually flying back because my husband's a fighter. His name's John Dodson. And we're flying back from his fight, and I get a phone call from the matchmaker, and she offers me a fight against Paige Van Zant, which Paige Van Zant has a huge name. There was no way I was saying no to that. So I ended up going out to Abu Dhabi. My husband's a great coach, so he helped me learn the rules. Him and the Crazy Hawaiian helped me a ton for my first
is
slap
that
fight.
your husband?
That's my husband. He won the Ultimate Fighter season 14. He was a title contender twice in the UFC. He's
Wow.
currently the bare knuckle champ of the world at 125. So he's accomplished so many things, and he's taught me along the way. And I'm just kind of trying to be a great example for our kids, just like he is.
Would you allow your kids to do power slap?
She's 6 years old. I can't say she's a baby, but she's 6 years old and she loves power slap. And me and all the kids love watching it. So if she wanted to later on in life, I'm all for it because that's what we're around as fighting. And if they decide to fight later on, me and John are all for it.
What was your background growing up playing sports? Because you look incredibly strong as well.
Thank you. I've actually done, you name it, I've probably done it. I did basketball, tennis, softball. I did wrestling in high school. Uh, I actually did a ton of sports. I don't have any MMA background history like all the other power slap people. Like the women's roster is a lot of MMA girls, and I don't have one MMA record on my record.
But did your husband help you get into power slap at all, or was it just
So
purely you?
I found it online. I found a slap fighting championship, the league, and I was watching those fights. This girl's name's Anastasia, and she got me into it. Just me watching her on YouTube because she would go against girls that are way bigger than her, and she wouldn't care, and she would just slap them. So that got my attention to it. And then Power Slap came around. It was actually called Power Slap League when they first started. And then I would watch a girl named Sheena. She's a huge name in Power Slap. So I was a fan of hers right away off the bat when they brought in Power Slap League. And I just continue to watch it. They have like seasons of the Power Slap, like the house for the guys. And so I would just sit around watching that. I stay home. I bake cookies for a living. That's what I do for a living. Stay at home mom, and I'm a cookie baker. And so like I like to lift weights, and I've done some bodybuilding shows and stuff like that. So I believed in myself so much. I signed up for Power Slap, and here we are with a broken nose and a viral video.
Apparently, we're some type of fitness model as well, a regular model.
Yeah, they would just call me for random shoots just because I stay lean for the most part. I love lifting weights. That's what got me into Power Slap. Was I was like, okay, I'm pretty strong for my size.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try and find some of these pictures, but it looks like you're deadlifting like 405 pounds, which that's what really impressed the hell. Okay, here it is. I'm gonna play this for the fans here. This is crazy. Are these legitimate 45-pound weights?
I don't know the exact those ones
Like,
were,
this is
yes. Those
insane.
ones are legit 45 pounds.
Like,
Those are 45 pounds. Yes.
I am a
So
weightlifter, and I would not want to lift weights around you, and that's
I
just.
I love lifting weights. It's like a zen for me. Is just I get motivated to get like new PRs and stuff. I always try and set like little goals for myself to try and reach. So I always try and one up myself per se.
So, what's your all-time best bench press, squat, and deadlift?
Off the bat, 245 for my squat. My deadlift was probably 265. That was the highest that I got. And then my bench, I'm still trying to get 135. I'm a baby on bench. My legs are strong as hell, but my bench, I can't hit that plate.
And I know that, well, this is a wrestling channel mainly, if you don't know, but Paige Van Zant did some pro wrestling. You went
I
to a
did know
draw with
that.
her.
Yes,
Yeah.
for my first slap fight ever.
Were you nervous? Because were they feeding you to her as if they thought you would get your ass kicked?
Yeah. I don't know the background with that. I can't say yes or no. Because I love the organization so much. I truly love Power Slap. And when I say I love it, like I literally do whatever I can to go ahead and go out there and perform at my best. So when they called me and they offered me her, it was like it was an honor, and that's how I took it, right? So I went out there and performed my best, and we got a draw. I mean, literally coming off the couch, not knowing anything about like combat sports in general. I trained under my husband for a long time, so I know about combat sports and like jujitsu and boxing, kickboxing, stuff like that. But I've never competed. So that was me at a professional level competing and keeping up with a girl that has accomplished so many things in her life.
Yeah, that's impressive. Would you ever consider pro wrestling if you start to get a name for yourself in Power Slap because it's owned by TKO that owns WWE, Power Slap, and UFC? Would you consider like talking to someone about pro wrestling if your popularity continued to rise?
I actually do pro wrestling locally here in Albuquerque. They kind of gave me a chance to like go out there and show my little attitude, and I'm a heel in the storyline because that's literally my attitude. So, but I would love to. I love pro wrestling. I think it's so cool.
Oh, that's good to know. Someone says on
There's
here,
me with like a Shigo on my Instagram. It's like the green hair. So I always put
oh,
like the Shigo music. Like that's my pro wrestling person.
oh, this
If
is,
the
I
naming
was
has,
wondering what this was. I
yeah.
thought you were may have been a Muay Thai fighter or something, but that's pro wrestling. Okay.
It's
Well,
like pro
there's,
wrestling stuff. Yes, that's me.
so if anyone wants to book you for pro wrestling, they can
Yep.
message you on there.
Yes, I'm here.
Do you do acting at all?
Do I do what?
Any acting, or would you be open to acting in the
I'm
future?
I do background stuff. I'm actually training with a guy here in Albuquerque. He has a big name. His name's El Godo. I'm training stunts with him. So that's really big thing for me because he's known in New Mexico and they're filming a ton of movies here. So I'm currently learning stunts. I'm currently learning pro wrestling and I'm doing power slap. So there's a lot on my plate, as well as having 3 kids and a husband.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely. And your bacon cookies as
And
well.
yeah, I was like, and I run my cookie business. So
Where can people buy your cookies if they want to order some?
I have a cookie page. It's called Chelily Sugar Cookies, and they DM me, and then that's how we go about ordering.
Do you make any of the THC cookies? I'm sure people would want me to. I don't know if you need a special permit to
I
do those.
haven't. I think because I don't do it, I just never thought about doing it or tried messing with it. So I mean, I'm all for it if people are for it, but I just don't do it. So I don't know how to make it. I don't know if like what's too much or what's too little. So I haven't done it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you kind of lazy, so I don't think it would be good for your training.
Yeah, I would just be like squirting like that THC in there and then probably they'd pass out. I don't know. So I don't mess with that.
Did you meet Ronda Rousey at all? Because I think she was at the last taping that you were at, wasn't she?
She was there actually watching my opponent. Them two trained judo together. So since they were young, I met Rhonda a long time ago with John when they were on this. I don't know if they were on the same fight card or if she just showed up, but I actually have a picture of her from years ago. But I didn't meet her at the event, no.
I do see that obviously John Jones is from Albuquerque. I did come across a picture of you and John Jones. What do you think about the whole John Jones retirement?
You know, he's the GOAT. I don't care. I love him. I'm a fan of his. So I loved watching him fight. I love who he is inside the ring. I don't really know him outside of the ring, but retirement's kind of sad because I would love to see him and Tom Aspinall fight. But
He doesn't have anything to prove, though, is the thing.
exactly, yeah, like he's proved to himself what he was capable of doing, like for his fight career, and I think that's that. Like he has nothing else to prove, and he what he needed to prove to himself, he did, and
And they're not offering, I mean, not that he's, I think Chael Sonnen said it the best, that he might not be the biggest draw of all time, but he's one of the top draws they have right now. But they don't get like the pay per view revenue anymore because I think ESPN just gives them a flat rate, so they don't have to go out and find like the very top fights like they used to have to find, I think, to make money on
to
the.
sell him out, yeah.
Yeah. It's like that in wrestling too, which you might know as a wrestling fan. They kind of do some throwaway premium live events now, where in the past, I mean, that's why we didn't see The Rock at WrestleMania, for instance. Like they didn't really need him because they were going to get the same money no matter what, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Who would you want to wrestle if you were to wrestle either in, well, let's say WWE, since you're probably under some type of TKO contract right now.
I'm not under any contract. What do you
Oh
mean?
no, they don't sign you? How does
No,
it
it's
work?
like
I
I'm
don't
not
know
a
what you want to tell us, but one of the things that everybody wants to
oh
know is how does it work with the, like, are you a free agent just as a freelance person, or do you get paid more per
yes.
fight, or what does it work?
Yeah, I'm pretty much a freelance agent. Whenever they want me, they sign me for a fight, and that's my fight. And vice versa, like with pro wrestling, like they'll ask me to go to the organization, I go there, and that's how I get booked with all that stuff.
So is it a flat pay rate to show up, or is it more to win for Power Slap? How does it work?
Oh, with Power Slap, they offer you a contract, and then you get a show money and then win money. So if you don't win your fight, you don't get that second check. So that's what makes you want to fight better. But your show money is like you have to go in, make weight, and do all that stuff. If you don't make the weight that you're contracted at, they can legally deduct some money from your pay. You could still win the show, but they would still deduct and give it to your opponent. Because if your opponent made weight and you didn't make weight, it's not a professional fight.
Interesting. And is it the same pay for guys as girls? Because obviously MMA, it's a bit different. I think guys overall make more, but I don't know how it goes in Power Slap.
Being truthful, I don't even know what anyone makes at all. Like no one really talks about their pay, so I don't know who makes what. Like even the newcomers, I don't ask questions. I don't know. I mean, I came in off the
Yeah.
couch, so I was happy with the paycheck type thing.
I saw that they had a bunch of like kind of semi-known indie wrestlers on the last one, and I overall I don't think they did too well. One of them had a brutal knockout. I don't know if you saw it. He hit his head on the table on his way down. I'll even try to look it up for you, but I was trying to think what would like without saying what you make, like what would a guy like
Oh,
that
the
have
Smiley guy
Smile, yeah, Dante
versus
Smiley.
yeah, versus Stuntman.
That
That
was
one was
brutal.
crazy. That one was the one that like started off the card. Like that was the first fight of the whole card. And he went out there and slept him off the first slap. Like no one was really expecting that, I guess, but that was crazy because they're both wrestlers. So what kind of sucked is we didn't get to see what Smiley got to do, like slap wise, if that makes sense. Because he didn't get a slap, he got slept right away, but that's part of the game.
Yeah, I'm just looking it up so for the people that aren't aware of it, so they can see that because that was one of the most brutal ones I've seen. And that guy has a bit of an arrogance to him the time that I met him, so I was actually happy to see it. But here we go. For anyone that hasn't seen it, let's
One,
just play it for the fans.
No, go
two,
ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so he actually
He
hit his head on the
stays,
table.
and he stayed stuck like that.
Yeah, 'cause I remember when I met him, I had been talking to him a bit about fighting, and I know at the time that I met him, which was only a few years ago, he had never been in a real fight in his life. So when I saw he's doing power slap, I'm like, why would you, if you've never even been punched before, what makes you think that you're going to be able to take a slap directly to the
Okay,
face?
hear me out. You don't ever know until you know. Like I never took a punch to the face or anything until I signed up for Power Slap and I was like, "Oh shit, this is real." Like you don't know till you know. So I'm always for people signing up for things and trying new things because that's how you know if you're good at something or not. So I'm I'm literally one of those people that just signed up for it and here we are.
You're telling me from being from Albuquerque, you'd never been in a fight before? Isn't that one of the roughest towns in America? I've driven
it's
through it a few times. I mean, you
it's
guys are pretty hardcore.
it's pretty toxic, honestly. I walk around with like a knife on me when I'm out by myself and not with my husband because it's kind of crazy out here.
Yeah, I remember stopping at a gas station there, and like it was mayhem. Just like there was so many shady characters, and then there was like women trying to get me to drive them like
And then
somewhere, and I hadn't even
homeless
talked to them.
asking you for money and they approach you and you don't know. And yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of wild. But I mean,
beautiful
I've been
town though.
sparring. It's beautiful, but it's crazy. I've been what was I gonna say? I've been like sparring and stuff like under with my husband's team. But yeah, again, like I never fought before. So I was kind of just signing up on a whim. I was like, I could take a hit. So I I was all for that smiley guy signing up for like I think that's cool for people that have never done combat sports and trying new things.
Yeah, okay, but that's where I was going to bring this up. What would you estimate he would have made for that if you had to take a wild guess?
Oof, I have no idea. I don't know if they signed them at like a grand, 2 grand, $500. I have no idea. And that's me being like honest.
Yeah, I don't know if 500's worth it. I guess they probably pay for travel too, I assume.
They pay for travel, but I just don't know what they signed their contracts for. I wish
Right.
I knew more about that, but I get so caught up with like my own little things because I have so much going on. Like I don't even ask the fighters what they get paid because that's their contracting. It's same
Yeah.
thing with fighting, like MMA and stuff. Like all their contracts are all different depending on what you bring in fan wise and all that stuff.
I see. I just got to show the fans this because it reminds me. I was reminded of this.
I don't know too much about
I just
this.
got
This
my
is
phone.
actually my
This is
first
in
time
What you
Albuquerque.
want to
doing
do
this.
this
This was
for?
a few years ago. I'm just randomly pulling up
Can you
at a
give
gas
the right?
station
That's
here.
all we're
I
asking.
can't. I gotta drive. I have to.
And these people were like, I've never been experienced anything like that. But yeah, it was weird. But
Sometimes
yeah,
they just open your door and like try and get in, and you're like, "What the f are you doing?" Like, you, you gotta, yeah, you gotta stay aware all the time.
do you know any inside information about what happened with Gene Hackman, who's from Albuquerque and had that mysterious death where him, his wife, and his dog died recently?
I saw that. No, but I was keeping up with the news about that, but they don't really know what happened. That's crazy. I didn't even know he lived in Santa Fe till I was like watching all that. It was kind of sad.
Oh yeah, Santa Fe is what, just outside of Albuquerque, I
It's like
guess.
40 minutes. Yeah, but I didn't even know he lived there. I was like, no way. And then he died just randomly. And then his wife and his dog. The other dog was alive, but
Yeah, everyone was thinking it was the Epstein files because it was right around that time that they were supposed to be released, but nothing came out about him. So, and I don't think it's been solved to this day.
no, nothing has came out like about why they died or how they died, or it's still under investigation. I'm like, okay, well, how long does the investigation last? Because I love all that crime stuff. I'm always like, well, what happened? Like, well, why did it happen? Who did this?
Yeah, and it looked like I saw the police cam when they like came into the house and they hadn't cleaned the house, it seemed like in months, and they don't look like the type of people that couldn't afford maids.
To do that, yeah, I don't. I saw
Like
their
the
last
bathtub was
outing.
full of garbage and stuff. Like the whole bathroom was full of, it was like they were hoarders almost.
I need to go watch that video. I haven't seen it. That one specifically.
So, as far as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, what can you tell us about your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments? Did you have many, or were you just doing it for fun, or how did it
No,
go?
I was just training at Jackson Wink Academy because that's where my husband was training. He trains under Greg Jackson, which was
Yeah, he's a great
John Jones.
trainer.
Just yeah, I was like John. My husband's a black belt under Gaido Jitsu under Greg Jackson. So, but obviously he was training in the when I first met John. He was in the UFC, and so we would just go to classes and stuff like that. So I actually got training under John and Greg and Wink.
Could you tell us any stories about Greg Jackson? Because for a while, I mean, obviously he's one of John Jones's trainer, but for a while, I mean, wasn't Arlovsky at that camp? I mean, it was a big camp for a period of time.
So when they were at um so when I first met my husband, they were at this small little building. It was called Jackson's Academy. And that's where all the pro fighters would go. So I would go in with John here and there occasionally. But you would literally walk in the doors and you would see all these like high level athletes like and it's like just all nonchalant because like Cub Swanson was there, Isaac Valley Flag, Michelle Watterson, Holly Holm, John Jones, Andre, obviously my husband. Um, I'm trying to think who else. Joey Villasenor. There was just a ton of high level athletes there, and it was just like I didn't realize who they were because I didn't know anything about fighting when we first got together. So I was just like hanging out with them and stuff. There's not really any crazy stories. They literally act like children all the time. Like they just get excited to see each other and train with each other and beat the shit out of each other, honestly. And then they go about their day.
How do you train for power slap?
There's actually a lot of stuff to do. So there's a lot of neck training. We do a lot of weightlifting. We do a lot of landmine stuff specifically, like pushing for power. Uh, abs for sure, because their rotation. Uh, we work on our fight stance because your feet have to be aligned. They can't be staggered at all. Mm, you have to work reactions, and a lot of people don't love to hear this, but Uh, Obviously, at some point, you need to get slapped in the face, not full force, but we grab a pool noodle and smack. I do both sides of my face because when I went against Paige, she was lefty, and then my other two opponents were righty. So you don't ever know which hand they're gonna go with. So you grab a pool noodle and you like whack it as hard as you can for more or less like a sting and a reaction because there's no flinching when you get hit. If you flinch during a fight, then you get slapped again. So it's like a free slap for them.
Oh wow, that's a crazy rule because it's really hard not to flinch because even an MMA fighter would have a hard time not like your natural reaction is to protect yourself or to bob or to weave.
Exactly. So like when Paige, when she did her first match, you gotta think all she's trained in her life is like MMA and boxing, right? Which you automatically like do this. Like you're used to reacting to things. Well, in power slap, you can't do that. You have to physically eat it. You have to sit there and just eat it. Like you cannot move or you get slapped again. And that slap again would suck more. I I feel like there's this guy named Luke Simons. If you ever get the time to look him up, not this past fight, but the fight before that, he got slapped 3 times in one round because he flinched twice.
Ooh, that's not good. Do you know who Ronnie Garvin, the wrestler, is? A fan is asking. He was known as the Hands of Stone.
And no, the only hands of stone I think I know is John Lineker.
There you go. Sorry, ATF media. And I think we got digressed, but who out of WWE, name your top three women that
Oh
you'd want to get in
man,
the ring with.
like now or like a long time ago?
Well,
I
give
haven't
give
been
us give us your
watching.
three from the past of all time of any company, three from any company of all time, and three if TKO says we need you in WWE.
I'm pretty sure her name's Ripley. I don't know how to say her last name,
Rhea
but
Ripley.
you see her all over the internet. She just has this like grunginess to her. I love it. She's a heel for sure. Uh, I don't know if there's a Chelsea girl. I'm pretty sure I saw.
Yeah, Chelsea Green, I
I
think
was
her
like,
name
but
is. I've
she's a
interviewed her.
diva, right? She's a diva. And then those are the two current ones that I know of that I like follow along with ish. Um, Other than that, I don't know.
Ronda Rousey, would you wrestle her?
Hell no.
No.
Rhonda is such a beast. She actually like has put so much attention into like combat sports in general that like everybody just loves her because she has accomplished so much in her life and brought so much positive attention to her sports that she has done. And I just love her as an athlete, honestly. I'm such a fan.
How did you meet your husband?
Okay, weird story, but I was actually at the radio station. I was the front desk lady and I was a receptionist. So he would always come in like talking on the radio and I'm like he would just talk to me here and there. And one day he asked me on a date and I was like, "Well, what do you even do?" And he's like, "Well, I'm a fighter." And I the only fighter I knew at the time was Chuck Liddell and he was already retired. So that says how much I knew about fighting at the time. Um but yeah, at the I was yeah, that's Chuck Liddell. My auntie thought it was a wax figure. I was so sad because I was so
It does
excited
look
to
like a
meet
wax
him.
figure now that you mention it.
He was like, "Oh, that's a cool wax figure." I was like, "No, it was really him." I was
How
so
was he?
excited to meet him. I've actually met him twice. I have two pictures with him. I love Chuck Liddell. He was my favorite fighter and person. I just nerd out when I see him still to this day.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to Pat Miletich about this the other day, but why do you think, like in the Chuck Liddell days, everybody knew every fighter, and it seemed like the fighters just had more personality for some reason. There still are some that do, obviously, but it's not like you know from top to the bottom of the card everybody like you did when it first started to about the beginning of the John Jones era.
I feel like there was less fighters there, where it brought more attention to the current fighters that were on the roster, if that makes sense. There's so many people on the roster that have come and gone into the UFC, um, that their rankings and stuff just go crazy because there's all these young fighters now that are coming in. But when fighting was there, they would just throw hands when it first started. You know what I mean? So they were making it into something, and kind of like Power Slap, like they're only on their 13th event, so it's only going to get bigger from here.
And what's it like being the wife of a fighter? Because I mean, your husband was a champion. I mean, there's a lot of stress going into fights, a lot of sacrifice. Plus, you got three kids now and your own careers. Like, could you tell us a bit about what it's like to live that life?
It's exciting. That's one thing I can say. um it's fun. We travel a lot. It's kind of stressful at times too because obviously he walks around at like 145, 150 and cuts down to 125. So a 25-pound cut, depending on how long they let him know. They try and roughly let him know within 6 weeks, but sometimes it's 4 or 3 weeks. And he doesn't like to say, he'll never say no. He always says yes. So I feel like weight cutting's a lot, but we've just done it for so long. We're kind of already used to it with each other now, with my bodybuilding show stuff and then with his fighting. So, I mean, we eat really healthy for the most part.
What does your husband think? And I'm sure maybe I could ask him this in another interview sometime separately, but like the difference between MMA and bare knuckle, because a lot of people are dead against bare knuckle, and some people will say it's actually safer than MMA. What's your opinion on it? And what's your opinion on it
If
as a wife, like of someone you care about watching them in there?
so, honest opinion, at first I did not want him to do bare knuckle like whatsoever. I was like, please don't do bare knuckle, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, well, I'm going to go try it, right? I'm going to go do it. And I was like, okay. But statistic wise, they take way less hits compared to MMA. MMA, you're using your whole body. And then in bare knuckle boxing, it's just boxing. So you have to defend takedowns and hammer fists and all this stuff to the head in MMA versus bare knuckle. If you cut them up, then your fight's over. So stat wise, my husband's only he has 3 finishes in the first round for bare knuckle, and then one of the fights went all the rounds. So stat wise, it makes more sense in bare knuckle, and he's taking way less damage, and he's actually really good at it because he's so fast. Um, versus MMA, he has a lot of like he has to work out 10 times more for MMA, in my opinion, and he takes way more shots to the head in MMA.
Are
So
the
I'm
rounds
a fan.
shorter?
The rounds are way shorter in bare knuckle boxing. They're 2 minutes and they're 5 rounds. So he's in the ring for a total of 10 minutes versus MMA, he's in there for what, 15, if
Yeah.
not more. So the MMA is mandatory 5-minute rounds as a professional. So it makes more sense. He gets more breaks in between for bare knuckle and stuff.
And I see you've met, I think that's Nate Diaz,
Oh
right?
my gosh, I love him. He's like my favorite fighter, and I've met him like I want to say 5 times. I only got one picture with him, but we we actually got to hang out with him in LA for the bare knuckle fights when they threw a huge bare knuckle card out there, and he's just my favorite. He's my favorite fighter. I love him so much. I wish he would do power slap because he does the Stockton slap. So he's just, I don't know. I nerd out with him every time I see him.
And I'm not saying this to be insulting, but he seems like he may have the beginning stages of some concussion issues stemming from his career. Did you notice that? Because I don't know if Power Slap might be the best for him if that's the case.
I mean, I doubt he would ever do power slap, but I would love to see him compete. I love seeing him compete in whatever he decides to do. Like he has a fan base behind him. I love his attitude towards everything. Like he just doesn't give a fuck and go out and do whatever the fuck makes you happy type vibe. And he literally will tell you that to your face if you ask him like, "Hey, do you have any advice?" And he's like, "Do whatever the fuck makes you happy." And it's true.
And I see you were also a fitness competitor. How did that career go for you?
So, actually, I signed up for power stuff for because I love weightlifting. So um bodybuilding is I love bodybuilding. I think it's fun. Same thing with like cutting weight and stuff. Uh You just go out there, you go on stage and you do your thing, and that's how power slap is, and just go out there and be your best.
Have you heard about everything coming out today related to Chavez Jr. getting arrested? The guy that fought Jake Paul over the weekend. Now he's being
Oh,
deported.
isn't ICE on him? I read that
Yeah,
earlier, right before I got on your
yeah.
podcast. I was like, that's so
Cartel
sad.
connections. Yeah.
The
Do you
news
think
is
that may have had
crazy.
to do with how poorly he did on the weekend? Because he didn't seem to be that aggressive.
I feel like sometimes the media attracts our attention elsewhere when real world things are going on. So that's just my opinion. I don't feel like sometimes you're not always 100 to go out and perform. For in that defense, I wasn't 100 to perform on my last slap fight. I I I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
I know you can't talk about everything, but what's your actual record from what's been shown on TV so far? What is your? I mean, we know Paige Van Zant was a draw. The girl that slapped you in the nose, that was a disqualification. What other fights have you had?
I had one girl, her name's Nicole Designy. I don't know how to say her last name. She used to actually train out here in Albuquerque. She actually trained with my husband for a while. So when they gave me her, I was like, dang. Uh, Not dang in a bad way, but I didn't really know much about her fight wise. I lost that one. Unfortunately, I got a clubbing foul in the second round. I rocked her twice. So that's one of the things where we're trying to learn the scorecards to see. She was a great actor. See, like she was a great reactor.
This is her, right? You guys are putting on a show here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's putting on a show. Okay, she hit me high, so I'm pointing at my eye. And then I rock her there, and then she just does this, but I rocked her, right? She moved back.
Yeah.
I eat that one. I'm like, fuck yeah, cool. I rock her
What
again right here, but then they call a club. So
do
I
you,
eat this one, whatever, and then I slapped her, but right before this slap, the official yelled at me. So I measure, I'm about to go, and if you watch the full clip on YouTube, like I measure, I'm about to slap, and then he's like, stop. Like he yells stop, and I'm so confused. And I'm like, okay, he's like, reset. I was like, all right, whatever. Kind of just like left it, but when I reset, I moved myself back. So if you ever have the time, you can listen to the commentary. He's like, just let her go. You should have just let her slap. They're arguing about my clubbing foul in the second round. So I don't take that as a loss. I mean, but my paycheck said it was a loss, so there's that.
never admit a loss?
And that's why I said, but again, like I rocked her twice. No offense against my opponent whatsoever. I was grateful for the opportunity. I was grateful to go out there with her. She knows how to put on a show, that's for sure. Um, but I rocked her twice. I'm trying to figure out the rule setting to where that doesn't happen again because that obviously sucked because I lost half a paycheck from it. But
How do you get into your opponent's mind before? Do you try and intimidate or do you act nice to try and have their guard down and then go in there and like switch into a different mode?
I'm genuinely like a nice person. So like I don't like love talking shit, if that makes sense. I just go out there and I'll talk to them. I don't hate them. I mean, the slap community is so different than MMA. Like everybody's hanging out, we're all getting drinks, we're all just vibing with each other. We'll go out and eat together. They made me and Paige hang out in Abu Dhabi. Mind you, I've been around MMA, so they like hate each other. They won't even let them hang out. And then the slap community, they're like, "Oh, everybody come on, we're getting on a bus, we're gonna go hang out." So there's no like animosity, I guess. Some fighters have that, but the women don't have that just yet.
How
But
was Abu Dhabi itself? Were you kind of shocked, like, oh my God, I don't have to just go to Vegas. I get to go to Abu Dhabi of all places.
well, for my first professional slap fighting professional setting ever, Abu Dhabi was like the vibes, honestly. I was like, oh, I get to slap Paige Van Zant. Oh, I get to go out to Abu Dhabi and they're paying for this. So that was pretty exciting. The culture there's very different and like super respectful. I was grateful for the opportunity. Um, Women like have to cover up, and so they got us like these. I don't remember what they're called, like specifically, but they made us custom ones to like each person. Each person got their own, and they were custom to us. Um, but you can't like show your ankles and stuff or your arms or like I have tattoos everywhere. You're not
Oh,
supposed to
it's
show
because of
tattoos.
the rules for women there.
Yeah. So like they actually gave us like a little head thingy too. I feel so disrespectful because I don't know the exact words for what it was called. I've totally spaced. But I have the thing that they actually made me like they were so welcoming and they gave us chocolate like that says Power Slap. Um when we showed up to our hotel, we got to ride camels out in the desert. Like that was super fun. We went sand duning. It was just a crazy experience for my first time doing Power Slap and then like traveling overseas for a fight for myself. I mean, we go to Japan for my husband, but just doing something like that was a cool experience.
What was the coolest story you could share with us from Abu Dhabi, and how long were you there total?
I want to say I was out there for 6 days. The coolest story was riding the camels. I mean, you can't really, a lot of people can't say they rode a camel out in the desert, like literally. We tasted camel. That was a weird acquired taste. Yeah, they were just out in the wild. The camels were so
It's
cool.
healthy, isn't it? I remember they do sell it in stores here, frozen at a lot of places, and I think it's low fat, right?
Yeah, it's low fat, high protein.
But I mean,
But
after just riding them, you kind of probably feel bad.
yeah, and then they actually sell like camel milk, like chocolates and stuff. Like it's an acquired taste. You have to like love it. One of the crazy stories out there, though, mind you, we're in another country and I'm a woman and I was trying to cover up. That's why I'm in that t-shirt and jeans. But you like you buy this online thing, like kind of like a Groupon for the camel riding and stuff. And so we buy that and then they're like, "Okay, we'll pick you up." They're like messaging us on the little app that we had to download to book this. And so it's me and my husband and two random people, like two women. And this guy comes and picks us up in like, I want to say a forerunner. It's not a forerunner, something like that. Long story short, like to ride the sand dunes. And he starts driving, and I start freaking out because he's like, "Well, I got to stop at the gas station." And I'm like, "Okay, well, why are we stopping at a gas station if we're supposed to be riding the sand dunes?" And mind you, I'm on guard because I live in Albuquerque. So I'm always like, "Oh my gosh, should we leave? Should we order an Uber back to the hotel?" Like, I didn't know if he was trying to kidnap us or what. Long story short, it was fun, but it was so scary.
Sounds like quite an adventure.
It was a blast.
Do you think Power Slap is going to start traveling a little bit more, or was that just like a special situation and they're probably going to just stay in Vegas at the Apex there?
They're actually going to New Orleans in 15 days to be exact. So that's their first time in New Orleans, which is exciting. They're
Oh,
getting
you're on that
sanctioned.
card?
No, my
Okay.
nose is broken. I'm suspended for a while. Uh, but they're trying to get sanctioned in other states so that they can go ahead and travel more and like have other people because there's a ton of fans of Power Slap. So going overseas, I'm not too sure how they're gonna go about that. I don't really know the back end of that stuff, but
There's
that was
there's Chuck with your son.
yes. And so it's like we've met him a ton of times. I love Chuck Liddell.
He's a pretty wild guy. I've seen some of it, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but from an entertainment standpoint, some of the interviews he's done early in the morning where he's clearly been partying all night are hilarious.
Yeah, he's just the wild individual. Like he just doesn't care. And so if you're like, "Hey, can I have a picture?" Like sometimes he'll tell you no. He's just like, "No," and you're like, "Oh, okay, well, thanks anyway."
Is your husband one of the more like wild personality MMA fighters, or I assume because he's got kids, he's probably more down to earth than some of them?
Since I've met him, he's literally like what you see online is what you get in person. He's very outgoing, he's very approachable. You can ask him anything and he'll just tell you straightforward. He's a very humble person, and everyone in the slap community loves him, vice versa. Like everyone in the MMA community loves him. Uh and I've never really heard anybody say anything bad about him, if I'm being honest. Just because he's so nice. Like we're yin and yang. Like people can approach him and ask him whatever, and sometimes I'm like, okay, well, let's go. Like I'm not a people person as much as he is.
Someone's asking if you exaggerate the drama when you're up there on stage to try and be more entertaining.
Um, yes and no. I'm trying to learn to put on a better show with that. Because you have to over exaggerate it a little bit, right? Uh, Taking a slap isn't for the weak. I'll give you that. So it's a shock to the body. You're literally putting yourself through pain. So if you're hyped about it, your reaction's going to be hyped. And if you're dreading it, it shows all over your face. So it's something that you either love or you hate. And you got to go out there and be like that one girl that I versed when she was like doing this, and she was being a very show person. Like she knows how to put on a show. I'm learning that, right? So this is my third slap fight. Like, okay, cool. I broke my nose, but I didn't know how to react with that.
What's the hardest legal slap you ever took, and what made it feel so different than like your average slap? Because I've had a few slaps where I felt it right down the spine.
Okay, hear me out. I didn't even know Paige like slaps with a whip. Like she literally like she's left hand. Well, she does both hands, but she slaps like this, and like holy cow, that crap hurt so bad. Like my face was swollen. I have a little video on my Instagram that shows uh how bad my face was from her. But it was like out here. I had to eat like noodles.
There
Yeah,
you
there's
are with
Rhonda.
Rhonda, by the way, for anyone that hasn't seen that. So you had to eat noodles when you're like, yeah.
Like
What's the
when
side effect when you take a slap like that? How long does it take to recover?
a few days for obviously your swelling to go down, but you know, you're kind of like shoving food through the side of your mouth. Just my face isn't used to it because I don't do MMA or anything. Like some fighters are used to it and they don't even have to do anything. But me, I'm not used to like taking hits like that. So my face gets swollen right away. And so I have to eat like softer foods. So late like after my slap fights, I've been eating freaking like ramen. Like I'll go out and eat ramen or like something soft like oatmeal.
What is your diet like? I mean, obviously you make cookies. Someone's saying, "Well, how does your husband react when you're making cookies when you're cutting weight?" That's got to be hard. But like, what is your average diet other than the cookies?
Um, the hella protein, a lot of steak with because I have a personal trainer. So he writes my diet really well. So steak, chicken, tilapia, rice, sweet potato, potato, a lot of greens, a lot of spinach. I'm a broccoli person. I love broccoli. But I love spinach also. Just I used to watch Popeye, so just greens, my carbs and my proteins pretty much.
And does it change at all when competing? Someone wants to know.
It changes a lot when I'm competing. Oh, they're asking what my diet was like. Not cut like I thought they meant like cutting weight. You
Well,
meant not
tell
cutting
us
weight.
both. Yeah, tell us both because I'm interested in
Okay.
your cutting weight too.
My cutting weight is what I just said. So it's the chicken, steak, tilapia, all that stuff. But when I'm not cutting weight, dude, I love sweets. Like love sweets. So I eat like cookies. Bread is my downfall. I eat so much bread. Like you go to Texas Roadhouse, I'll eat like all that bread by myself. Any type of dessert. I love frozen yogurt. That's my shit. I hate pizza. It's not my go-to. I'm trying to think what else. I love burgers. Burgers are the bomb. But I can't eat it right now. I'm kind of sad because my mouth can't open that well.
What's your specialty for cooking? Like, and what's like for instance, what's your favorite thing to cook? What do your kids like best that you cook, and what does your husband like best?
Um, Fried rice. My kids love my fried rice. I don't know why. My husband's Filipino, so he cooks a ton. They love when I grill. Other than that, my husband like cooks a lot just because he eats a certain way, so we just eat what he mainly eats. Uh, Spaghetti, obviously, kids love spaghetti, but he cooks more than I do, if I'm being honest. I love baking.
Very, very interesting. Is this a close up of that same fight, right?
Yeah.
Was this like, did they not have a crowd here for a reason? I guess because this is mostly seen on TV, so it doesn't matter.
It's kind of like my last power slap that I just did where it's called a pre-recording. So they have like a whole fight card that's a pre-recording that they get a release whenever they want to. Like so they have content. So a pre-recording, you can't give out the results, you can't post like pictures, you can't really do anything until they release the information themselves. So even though we competed, if they post the video, we can post their video that they posted. Anything else, we can't really say much about it. Just my nose broke, and that's that. It was a clubbing fell.
Someone has a question. This is a good question because I've used to do this myself when I was fighting a little bit. Did you chew a lot of gum? Do you chew a lot of gum to strengthen your jaw muscles? Because supposedly that helps prevent you from getting knocked out.
Honestly, like when people are addicted to something, I literally have gum on deck like all the time. So I chew a ton of gum. I feel like that helps. I use those jaw strengthening thingies, and there's this thing that you wrap around your head with a wire, and you like have to put a plate on it or whatever, and you strengthen your neck that way. But your jaw wise, I chew hella gum. So yes, the answer is yes.
Now I think this is a fighter you're slapping here, but do you get like fans and stuff saying, or people that you know when they find out you're a slap fighter, hey, can you slap me? I want to feel what it's like.
All the time. When I say all the time, like one of the videos went viral with me and Isaiah. It's like a 14 million or something like that. Uh, but I think guys are so curious about like what it feels like to get slapped by a female that they'll just let you slap them. I get asked all the time. And then I also get asked if I love getting slapped. So my DMs after slap
Yeah,
fight are
somebody
so
just asked
crazy.
that, but I didn't want to bring it up. That's a little weird that people ask
No,
that.
but like people ask, I mean, do I like getting slapped? The answer is yes to an extent, right? Like I like the concept of power slap because I know I can take a hit. Do I do that behind closed doors? No. Like that would be dumb because I'm just getting brain damage for no reason. But as a professional athlete, I feel like I'm very good at what I'm doing.
What was the hardest blow you ever took? Was that when your nose exploded, or was that just the most graphic?
I would have to say it was my nose. Only because your nose is so sensitive, and I've never had that happen. So like also it's a shock to the body, a shock to the brain. Like I was freaking out because I was bleeding everywhere. Like there was so much emotion going into it. I also cut like 8.8 pounds the day before that. So they called me on Wednesday uh to weigh in on Thursday. So they called me Wednesday and I had to weigh in within 24 hours, but they flew me out at like 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. So that weight cutting was kind of a lot within 24 hours. Your body goes through a lot like cutting weight and stuff. She actually jumped up in weight to fight me at 125. So kudos to her. Like she moved up in weight. Cut weight. We met at 125 because she's a 115er. Uh, and then when she hit me, I was just like, it was just a lot. I feel like there was a lot of emotion going into it just because it was so hectic for the whole, what, less than 48 hours of what we accomplished.
And here's another guy getting slapped by you. This guy's a fighter too, isn't he?
He was just like, hey, full send this. And I was like, what do you mean full send that? And he's like, full send a slap on me. And I was like, okay, but I rocked him.
And as far as resistance bands, someone had a question. Do you use a lot of resistance bands in your training and slapping mitts?
Like for hitting, okay, so a good training thing that my husband has me do is he gets a resistant band. I'm just gonna stand up really quick. Like he gets a resistant band and makes me come here like I'm slapping, right? So we do these and then an upward motion and then a downward motion. But it's more or less for like you to be flexible and bring your slap through, if that makes sense. So I use resistance bands for that, and then he has like a thicker resistance band that he makes me stick on my forehead to strengthen my neck. So I'll do like yes and no's, and then I'll go to the side. So I hope that helps answer that question.
Yes. So do you see yourself doing this long term? Because this, I can't see this being a career where for doing it for like 10 years is going to be good for your health, but short term, I could see how it could be fun. But like, how long do you see yourself being involved in this?
Okay, realistically, I have never really taken shots to the head like all these MMA fighting women that have been doing MMA for their whole career. So that's a plus side to me doing power slap because like some of them got knocked out, some get concussions, some like there's a long-term thing with them doing MMA. Long-term career-wise, I just kind of want to I'm going with the flow and seeing where it takes me and I've been very successful in my first 3 matches where I I haven't taken like a ton of damage per se, but like obviously there's little things here and there. But it's where I'm going with the flow. I can't give a yes or a no answer with that because I don't really know where the road will take me with that. I also have a lot of other things that I do, so kind of just depends on all of that stuff.
Would you consider bare knuckle boxing if you get like enough of a name and obviously your husband's in it and it's kind of getting popular
Uh,
now?
oh, bare knuckle is like super popular. A blow to the nose, man. I don't know. If I'm being completely honest, it's a different breed going out there and watching the bare knuckle. Like when I say you hear every crack, like you legit hear every crack. Like you hear that the whole time. So fighting with like that is so intense. And I love watching it. I don't know if I would love being a part of it because I know a lot of the fighters and they're built different.
What's your favorite type of fight to watch? Is it slap fighting, boxing, bare knuckled, MMA?
Okay, so obviously slap. I've been a huge fan of power slap like since it came out, since I watched Slap Fighting Championship. Love power slap. It's crazy. And then it's bare knuckle. I would kind of like power slap, bare knuckle, and then like MMA and boxing and stuff down here. I love watching like Rose. I love watching her compete. She's a beast. Um Tracy Cortez, she just has this like wild energy. She's so cool. Uh but boxing wise, I'm just a Ryan Garcia fan through and through. I love him. I met him in person and I literally nerded out. But huge Ryan Garcia fan. Other than that, I don't really care. Not care, but I don't really understand a lot of like bare knuckle boxing and regular boxing is two different things. So like their rule sets are kind of different.
Did you happen to see Kenzie Morrison, Tommy Morrison's son, bare knuckle debut a couple weeks ago?
Was it in Utah? Was it
It
that
was in
card?
Texas. It was in
Oh, the
Dallas.
Texas card.
Yeah. Andre
Oh no.
Arlovsky made his debut too in
I
that.
love that Andre even went in there and he did so good. Like John and Andre have a really good relationship. They used to do like crazy videos together, like where Andre like kicked a pad and John goes flying and they're funny together. But we were so excited when Andre went into bare knuckle. He's so nice, but he like has this grungy, mean like demeanor to him.
Doesn't he have the record for most UFC fights now too?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah. Someone wants to know for Ryan Garcia, do you think he's going to get his life back on track and get out of the TMZ tabloids?
You know what? I think he's like the smartest individual because he loves to go crazy and then go put on a show. So, I mean, it attracts so many fans because everyone's like, oh, he's crazy, he's delusional, he's this, he's this. So it keeps us interested in like what he's gonna bring to the table when he fights. So I feel like he does it semi for show, but also like it brings more fans into like watching him do boxing.
As far as the music you come out to, do you always use the same music? I mean, I'm not familiar with it. Could you tell it? But someone was asking about your walkout song.
Um, so we were in Abu Dhabi and they're super respectful. And my walkout song was Delhi by Ice Spice, which is total ratchet song. So there was that. My second walkout song was Money by Cardi B. And then my third walkout song was Think You the Shit. And then it's by Ice Spice. So there, I walk out to ratchet stuff, but it's pretty much because it hypes me up.
Is there anything that fans might be surprised to learn about you? I mean, obviously, most people would be surprised you have a family and bake cookies if they've just seen you doing the power slap, but is there anything else that we might be shocked at?
I think I get kind of just shock everybody in general when they actually ask me what I do because I go on, I'm like, okay, well, I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I sign up for Power Slap and I run a sugar cookie business. So that's kind of shocking in general because usually like fight wives are just fight wives, they don't go out and try and do fighting. So my life's pretty much a surprise to myself in general.
Is there any UFC fighter's wife that you get along well with outside the ring that people might know of?
No, I didn't really like when he was in the UFC, I was very like to myself and I didn't talk as much as I do now. So I was very shy when we first met. I was 21. I was young and just quiet.
Now that there's this new boxing league being opened up with Dana White and WWE's involved with it, Nick Khan, the president of WWE, and Abu Dhabi's funding it with massive money, would your husband consider boxing in it if he got the right offer?
If they ever asked him to box in any other organization, like I'm sure he would love to. He loves boxing and he's very good at it. I don't know if you ever have the time to watch him. The bare knuckle ones aren't super long, but somebody on the internet like clipped all of his bare knuckle ones. He's super good at boxing. His background is wrestling, which you would ever never know because he doesn't use it, but his boxing's like top tier. I think he would be super great at it.
What would you suggest fans to look up on you for your fights if they want, if there's one in particular from start to finish, including the walkout, if they only had time to watch one, what would you tell them to search up?
They don't have my walkout for my second fight, but that one was fun. If they want to get to know me a little bit more, I feel like I was more comfortable in my second fight and I was more myself and learning the ropes a little bit more about Power Slap and who I am as a person on stage. Uh, and getting more comfortable with that. I feel like if they had my walkout and all that stuff, that would be it. I want a full fight camp and I want to be able to go. So my
A fight
this
camp for
one,
Power Slap? Are you kidding me? I know it's the future, but like I wonder what that would consist of.
I had a fight camp for my first one. They give you fight camps because you do have to cut weight and you do have to train a certain way and it's not just like, hey, we're going in there and we're slapping. You have to make sure that you're following all the rules on your end. Uh and people don't understand it and that's totally fine. But there is fight camps and people have to train for it because you have to do like certain exercises like your neck exercises, your jaw exercises that you're not doing on a daily basis. But when you're in fight camp, you mainly focus on that stuff so you can go ahead and eat a slab. You do like hand conditioning also. So there's hand conditioning, wrist conditioning. Like, yes, you should be doing it on your off season, but at the same time, when you're in fight camp, uh, you're more focused on the little things like that.
How close between power slap events do you think you could comfortably compete again if you weren't injured? Would you just keep doing it, or would you be like, oh, I got to take 3 months in between to give myself a little break?
I mean, I don't really say no when they've asked me. I've only competed for them 3 times and I haven't said no once. Obviously my nose got broken, so I'm not gonna be competing for a while just because it has to get cleared from the doctor. I see the doctor on Monday, like where he can give me an estimate when my nose will get fixed. But as of right now, I'm out for a little bit.
I'm gonna guess power slap takes care of the injuries that you get while slap fighting. Someone is asking here.
Yes, they do take care of that. And they're specifically taking care of this one just because it was so brutal and it looked so bad like as bad as it looked, that's how bad it actually hurt. So they said they're taking care of me and they're doing everything on their end. They checked on me and all that stuff. So
Do you get into like a zone before you get in there, and what's the process of getting into that fight zone?
for sure, you're like trying to literally knock somebody's head off. So you have to mentally be there um to go ahead and slap somebody. It's not easy to just go in there and just, hey, I want to rip your effing head off. Uh, I feel like you have to mentally prepare. I have to get in the zone. I have to like want to hate them. Not that I hate them, but I have to want to, you have to tell your mind like, oh, you hate this person. Cause it's hard to go in there and slap somebody that you like when was against Paige Van Zandt, I was like, oh my gosh, I've watched all her fighting and I have to go slap her. Um, so you have to like kind of flip a switch, but I do that like when I'm gone for fight camp, like when I'm where I'm supposed to be, like when I was in Vegas or Abu Dhabi. I don't really do it around my kids, but I do it when I'm where I'm needed to be during fight week.
Do your kids come and watch you fight?
Unfortunately, they haven't been able to because I've been on 2 pre-recordings. On the first one, I was in Abu Dhabi, but I would love for them to come watch Power Slap. Um, I even told a matchmaker, like, my next fight, can we please like let my kids come watch me do what I've been doing? Because they're my motivation. They're what make me strive for better. I got into Power Slap because of them. So because we watched it so much, and I would love to have my kids there and my hand get raised, and it would just be an emotional thing for myself and something very exciting that I would look forward to.
What do your parents think about this?
They're supportive. My dad actually flew out to Abu Dhabi to go watch me do my first ever power slap. So that was cool. I didn't get to see him in Abu Dhabi, unfortunately, but he was the only one like cheering for me because everyone was like for Paige Van Zandt. And I could hear him on stage, so that was cute. Um, and then my second power slap bout, my mom ended up going because it was in Vegas. So it was also a closed one where there you could only bring 2 guests. So my mom ended up going and I could hear her on stage. So that was exciting. This last one, it was just my husband because it was so short notice. Like I couldn't invite anybody. But it's memories like those that I also want to make with my own kids. Like it's cool that I had my parents there and I was very grateful for that opportunity. Like that they got to go see me do something that I've been wanting to do since I've watched it. And I put my heart into it. I go out there and perform the best that I'm capable of doing.
Any tips on getting such a white smile?
I have a white smile.
Yeah, it's like
Why?
very white.
It might be the lighting. I don't know. I use whitening strips and whitening toothpaste, so there's that.
Okay. Yeah, it really stands out. Any advice to anyone watching this that might be thinking to get into power slap?
You know what? Go do whatever the hell your mind and your heart wants to go do because there's all these naysayers that say that they want to go do something and then they don't do it. But believe in yourself enough to go chase your dreams.
And what's your ethnic background?
So my mom's adopted, but I don't really know. My birth certificate says Hispanic, so a lot of people speak Spanish to me, and I'm like, I don't speak Spanish.
That's
So
funny. Yeah, you look
I
at least
don't
half Mexican, but you don't. I don't think you look really full Mexican.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. My nose says other. I don't really know what I am. So
I was adopted too, so I'm in that same club.
yeah, my mom's like, I don't know what I fully am, and I was like, well, I don't know what you fully are either. So I want to take a 23 in me, honestly.
Do you have a favorite fight you've ever seen in any fighting discipline?
Okay, this is being biased, but I loved watching my husband win the bare knuckle belt, and just because he was so good at what he did, it was cool to experience and watch at the same time. Um, on it, and like when Holly beat Ronda, and I know like that's probably on repeat with a lot of people, but it was just like she was such a huge underdog and she went out there and shocked the world. And like obviously she trains at Jackson Wink, but like once you saw her afterwards, like her attitude didn't change, like nothing. She was still like the same humble person. Like she's still humble till this day. She's super nice. So that was like that's a cool experience to see these fighters win these titles and nothing change about them, and they're very grateful and willing to help other fighters.
Is there any famous, any celebrity, I guess we won't just say just from fighting, that you found is more of an asshole than the others? And is it who was the nicest of all the celebrities?
Oh, I don't even know who's an asshole because John's so nice. They're nice to John. So they talk to him all the time. So I haven't really I feel like people talk shit about Bryce Hall. He's a good person. Um that I'm going to bring up because people think like he's an asshole, but he's such a genuine soul. And he went out and did a bare knuckle fight. I don't know if you know that. But he went out there not knowing any he was training but not doing any combat sports or anything like that, and went out to do bare knuckle. And he's just a humble dude. We see him at all the power slap events. He always talks to us, and he's a nice individual, but people online think like that he's mean, and he's actually not.
Yeah, you can't go by what people say online. Somebody wants to know, do you get nerves when your husband competes? Obviously, I would guess you do.
Okay, so hear me out. I know it's like the weirdest thing, even when I'm fighting. So I'm fine until like we're about to go out. So like I'll be eating and like I don't like drink alcohol or anything like before he fights. Uh, People are like, "Oh, take a shot." Like it calms the nerves. Like no, it doesn't. Like sorry, but my husband, they're putting two people in a cage to fight, and I don't think about it till he's like walking out and in the ring, and then that's when it hits me. Like everyone that's in my circle that like I sit by, they know better than to like talk to me or ask me questions or anything like that because my main focus is like watching my husband and cheering for him. And he always tells me he can hear me because you can hear people's voices, you know, like certain voices, just because you're used to them. So he always tells me he like waits to hear me yell for him. So that's something exciting and it makes me happy.
That's good to know. And what kind of cars do you guys have? Everyone likes to know what these fighters drive.
Oh my gosh, we drive like such mom vehicles. My husband drives like a Volkswagen Atlas, so he drives like the mom car. And then I drive like an Outlander Mitsubishi. Like we're like this most nonchalant people ever.
Do you think you're gonna stay in Albuquerque just because your husband's training camp is there, or do you think after he's retired finally, you guys will relocate somewhere else?
He never wants to leave Albuquerque. He loves Albuquerque. He loves that we don't get natural disasters and we have all four seasons. So he loves New Mexico and never wants to leave. Me, on the other hand, I love Henderson in Nevada. If I could move somewhere, that's where I would live. But
That's what, a suburb of Las Vegas?
we got married in Henderson actually. So I checked out Henderson like because we would go to Vegas all the time when he was in the UFC. They'd like fly him out, do all this stuff. And Lorenzo Fertitta owns Green Valley Ranch. And so that's where actually our wedding was at. We got married on 7/7/17. So our anniversary is actually coming up. So we got married because of 7/7/7. We got married in Vegas, which I thought was super cool. Uh, but obviously it's in Henderson, so when you drive around and stuff, you just the atmosphere is super nice. So if I had somewhere to live, it would be in Henderson.
And I don't mean to ask this question to be rude, but some people abstain before fighting and others don't. What's your view on that? Does it make a difference in getting your testosterone up more, like in your husband's case? Like, does he abstain during his training camp?
Do we
Or
what? Say that
like,
again. Sorry.
you know how some fighters never have sex before they fight? Does
Yeah.
is your husband does your husband do that? Is there any truth to
No,
that? Being
never,
a
not
champion?
once. I
Okay.
mean, he's still all the time. He's never like, we're not doing this. So like if we just go with the flow, if it happens, it happens.
And as far as like the night before the fight, do you and the kids stay with him, or does he rather be alone to like kind of get in the more violent
Oh,
zone?
he's like the most chill person. If the kids are there, like we try and take them to most of his fights, but if the kids are there, he's like all about the kids being there. We don't stay in different rooms or anything. Like some fighters may be like that, but he's not like that.
Awesome. Well, you're a very interesting person. I wish you great luck on Power Slap. Where
Thank
can
you.
people follow you?
My Insta handle is Chelsea Dodson underscore, and my Facebook is Chelsea Dodson, and my TikTok is Chellily33 because that was my original Instagram handle.
Excellent. And your next fight, I guess, is up in the air because you gotta wait and find out about
I
your
have to
nose.
fix this, so there's that.
And what about your husband? When's his next bare knuckle match?
We're actually going out to the bare knuckle fights next weekend, and he's promoting that, so stay tuned.
Awesome. I'll let you close this off with whatever you want to tell the fans to shut this down.
I don't know. Thank you for watching me and all the questions, and I had fun. And if you want to keep up with me, follow me on Instagram.